Welcome back. We're going to get straight into the program. Of course, we would have paid that amazing tribute there to blacks, and the tributes will continue pouring in. But we want to now take it back to some of the news that's definitely part of the major talking points. People, of course, discussing some of these developing stories, especially the parents at this point in time, as the students are back out to school. The announcement was made, confirmed, of course, by the Minister of Education, who would have taken to the media to explain the particular rollout. But it's important to hear from tutor. We always give them that particular space. And this morning, we welcome their first VP, MARLON SEALES, already in office as we prepare for the return of schools. MARLON, good morning.
Good morning, Jason, and good morning to your listening and viewing audience.
Well, just like how you're up early and in office, I would imagine come the last term of the school year, parents, students, everyone will have to be up early, as from Standard 1 right up the road, they're heading back out. What say you with the development? I know this was expected. Are we more or less prepared for this physical return to classes?
Well, Jason, from the association's point of view, we are really heartened by the fact that we are now moving back to this full online full face-to-face engagement. We recognize from the figures, from looking at both the SEA exit figures and the CSEC exit figures, that there has been some learning loss among our students. We see approximately a 5 to 10% percentage drop in the performance of our education system as a whole. So we recognize, and we hope that the entire country recognize that one of the most critical parts of this education is the in-person interaction with the classroom teacher. We haven't said enough about the human service given by our classroom teachers. And I, on behalf of the association, would like to say, classroom teachers, you have proven that you are one of the most critical components of education. So well done. And as we get back safely, your association is here to support your return to school.
Well, Marlon, let me not only mention that you all are pivotal to education, I would say pivotal to society as a whole. Teachers, to me, are one of the pillars that holds up a particular society, and this is no different. And obviously, with the physical return, from what I understand, I'm seeing here, no more of this rotation, all right? That's going to be out the window, this rotational schedule, something of the past. School assemblies will now be held, you know, it's literally back to regular school. Is there any consideration to physical activity? Because I know, yes, they're suggesting that they want the children to maintain the physical distance, but children, obviously, in our lunchtime, those who have a particular talent will want to, I guess, express it. School is the perfect space and environment to harness this talent. Is there any conversations right now concerning physical activities, sports, back to competitions within the school context?
Yes, Jason, following the minister's pronouncements yesterday in their press conference, they shared a draft document which will outline the return to school. In that document, there is contained the intent to return to the physical activities, school competitions, extracurricular activities, and the like. So yes, we expect that will happen. We are not sure how we can, because in the same document, it seems that there's a dissonance in the document where we are admonished to maintain physical spaces. We know the 3 W's, and how do we maintain that while still sitting shoulder to shoulder with each other. And the association stands ready to assist the ministry in these logistical concerns. Our members are on the ground. So while the ministry may have plans on the 15th floor of in the middle of Port of Spain, our members will be able to give genuine and authentic feedback in terms of how this thing should really go. So we are awaiting the conversations with the ministry. We had some scheduling concerns on the last occasion, but certainly we'll be able to iron out those concerns. We already have a date, as a matter of fact, where we will be meeting with the Ministry of Education to help operationalize what they put into the public domain yesterday.
So that's part of your recommendation list. These are ideas that you bring into the ministry. Did you, at least from your standpoint and the rest of tutor, notice any kind of adherence, any consideration at all to some of these recommendations?
Some of the recommendations that we had from the very beginning is to take a close look at the learning recovery process. How do we do that? You will have noticed yesterday in the press conference, the country lead for the Let's Reap program, which is the CARICOM Learning Recovery Program, will have spoken a lot about learning recovery. The problem that the association has with that conversation is the fact that while these things look good on paper, we do not see any attempts, or we have seen very little attempts at the operationalization of these very good plans. So again, the association stands ready. As a matter of fact, the association have been meeting with our principals to give them some scaffolding in some of the concepts, the areas that they will need to really have this a whole of this learning recovery. The ministry said that they did some training. Touching the ground yesterday with many of our members, they are not in receipt of the training that the ministry said that they did, but we again will stand ready with the ministry to roll out, to operationalize some of these very good ideas and to ensure that they come to fruition.
Marlon, I want to find out, you mentioned education and learning recovery. You mentioned the extracurricular recovery. What say you concerning the behavioral recovery? I've noticed, and the entire country, including yourself, since the reopening of physical school, we have seen children scrambling. I mean, listen, fighting in school is nothing new. We, in our school days, would have seen that. Now it's being captured on the cell phone. It's becoming a bit more vicious now. These students who are away from class for months upon months, and we live in a new space. What's the approach from teachers when you talk to your tutor members? How do they plan to treat with this? Are they going to seek assistance from any other entity to help curb that situation right now?
Yes, well, you will be aware that the Ministry of Education is dealing with this purposefully. They actually had a series of consultations, and we are really impressed with the way the ministry is dealing with this in a systematic way and a systemic way, where they brought in the partners such as the Ministry of Gender Affairs. They are dealing with NGOs and having those roundtable discussions so that and again, the association being a social justice organization, we stand ready to assist the ministry in rolling out some of these ideas. Jason, we are disappointed at times with the lack of consultation that we have from our ministry partners, given the fact that as a social justice organization, we recognize what must be done, because we have the experience on the ground, in the classroom, in our school communities, in our education communities. So while the plans may be sound, without the practitioners to roll it out, then we, as happens too often in Trinidad and Tobago, we at the implementation stage, that is where we see the gaps and we see the weaknesses. So again, we are in our meeting with the ministry, we will be articulating some of these views, and we will ask again, so to be part of the process, the planning process, so that we can, from the jump, be able to tell the ministry, the technocrats in the ministry, what can and cannot work when we look on the ground. Jason, through this COVID experience, we see many, while as a whole, the education system would have suffered, we see that there are some things in the COVID period that we should keep. Definitely we should keep. This meeting, for instance, is one of the things that we definitely can keep. The use of ITC technologies, some of the things that we can keep. The infusion of the Google classrooms and videos and dealing with the multiple intelligences of our students. Those are things that we should keep. But how? The how is the problem, and only in having these conversations, these negotiations with the recognized majority union, we can really keep the best parts of this, what we have learned through this COVID experience.
Of course, we've all been able to pivot, and some of the elements will remain. I want to thank you, Marlon, for being part of the conversation this morning. Let's keep in touch. And especially when the schools reopen, we'll definitely have to come back to see how things are going. All the best to you and your team, and thanks for the discourse this morning.
All right, thank you very much.
That's right. Hey, Marlon Seales, first VP of Tutor. Of course, tomorrow being Baptist Liberation Day, we come back and get some details about the traditions and customs. We are joined by Lady Queen Mother Hilary Stapleton Ned. I look forward to the discussion. It's up next. Stay with the team. Morning Brew, Tuesday.